everybody, welcome to the Northern Film Review. Last week we talked about Hereditary, a horror film which makes you hate people clicking with their mouths. This week we'll be talking about a film which will make you want to drink more water, and an M Night Shyamalan film before he went crazy. And of course, it's Signs. Hope you enjoy. The Northern Film Review, with your hosts, Oliver Ellis and Luke Simpson. So, hello everybody, welcome to the Northern Film Review. I'm Oliver and I'm here with Luke.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am good, thank you. Yeah.
How are you enjoying everything so far? I mean, last week we reviewed Hereditary, which was, I say reviewed, we don't really review them, we'll just tell you kind of interesting things about them.
Yeah.
We do review them a little bit, but we don't review them like loads. How do you think that went? How do you think our last podcast went?
I think it went all right, actually. Some good facts. I really enjoyed reviewing it. I'm not. I love horror films. I just get scared the bejeebus out of when I watch them. Fun fact: I was watching Lights Out the other day. It was a short film, and now it's a live action film by the same director. But I watched it, and then the evening I was changing my bed covers, bed sheets. My wardrobe is a mirror, basically.
Yeah.
And I was doing my sheets, and then all of a sudden, all I heard was, I looked in the mirror. I saw myself, but I jumped. I was like, "Oh my god, someone's here! Oh my god!" Oh my god.
And I swear to God, when I was going to bed one night and I was turning off some lights, I swear to God, I heard something click, like a sound in my house. It's like, this isn't fun. I mean, you
don't say that.
You live on your own as well, and I think that's that's a bit crazy. Yeah.
And another thing happened. I was in bed as well. This was also after recording Hereditary and watching Lights Out. Yeah. My laptop just restarted itself.
Yeah.
And turned on, and it started playing a YouTube video. And I was like,
that's weirdly happened to me. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and my computer must have restarted itself, and just because I had this sort of I like to listen. I was in this thing was like listening to like Spanish jazz or whatever.
Yeah.
And just ran at like full volume. My computer started playing Spanish jazz. I was like, "Oh God, what's going on? What's going on?" I'm in some sort of whiplash dream or whatever. It was horrible.
It was funny because I was watching. I've been listening to some movie soundtracks, but the movie soundtrack that I was listening to before bed was 28 Days Later. So all I heard was da 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 da. That music. I was like, oh God, this is freaky. What is happening? Banging from upstairs. I was like, this is something out of a horror film.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm doing Hereditary as one of my films for an assignment now because after we reviewed it, I was like, this would be a very good. This ties in very well with what I'm writing about.
Is this for film art by any chance?
A film art essay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm writing about the use of sort of. We didn't really mention this. I didn't really touch on it, but I thought about it after the use of sort of non-diegetic sound to sort of influence the visuals of the film, and there's something that was very interesting I thought about. Anyway, we're not talking about Hereditary this week. We're talking about a different film. This is our third horror film, and I don't know how many podcasts we've done so far.
5. This is our 5th.
5. So 3 out of 5 films have all been horror films. That's not intentional. I don't really like horror films that much.
Yeah, me.
But we did 3 of them.
They're really interesting to talk about, though. That's why I think.
Yeah, because they have a lot of sort of stuff that's either really bad or like, really that's good, that's interesting. And I think with horror films, you can tend to sort of break the genre a little bit more than you can with others. And they tend to get talked about a lot because people like to review horror films and kind of go, this is a horrible film.
Yeah,
but it
scared me.
Yeah, we're reviewing Signs, which is I first watched a very long time ago, and
2002 it came out as well. So ages ago.
I didn't watch it in 2002. I was 2 then.
I was 1,
which is a long time ago. But I remember watching it in like a cottage while I was on holiday, and we watched it on VHS. which is sort of really, really taking it back. And I was just really freaked out by the film. Signs and the Weeping. I watch it at the same time I watched the Weeping Angel episode of Doctor Who, which is Blink, which is
great.
That's
a great
episode. An episode that freaked out an entire nation of children. And
God damn you, David Tennant.
And also that was a time of like Slender Man as well. I was just like, oh, it's all freaking me out.
A lot of creepypastas and stuff like that. Yeah.
No wonder I can't sleep anymore. It's just sort of horribleness. But yeah, Signs came out in 2002. It's a very interesting film. Directed by M Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan Ding Dong.
And yeah, it's interesting. Do you want to kind of like tell us about, give us a little bit of synopsis on it, or?
Yeah. So we have this farmer, Graham. Graham Hess, played by Mel Gibson, the wonderful Mel Gibson. Not a racist whatsoever. Assumed about he finds this crop circle in his cornfield, and then from this, loads of weird stuff happens, and they start investigating this mystery, this mystery forever alters the lives of him and his brother, played by the wonderful Joaquin Phoenix as well, and children. The story, it's a wonderful story. It's about the phenomenon of crop circles and signs, and about the family, really.
Yeah, it's an interesting film. Lots of sort of depth through it. I think we'll get into sort of later. But the sort of the Metacritic and the Rotten Tomatoes scores aren't very high. And I think this is a film that is, because when you talk about M Night Shyamalan, you go, oh, his career started out really well, and then he made The Last Airbender, and it's quite interesting. And
he made The Village.
Yeah, and what I found with sort of the Metacritic and the Rotten Tomatoes scores, I can't show this because it's a podcast, but there's this very, very interesting graph that I found that someone made on Reddit, and it kind of shows the sort of the Rotten Tomato ratings as sort of M Night Shyamalan's career goes by. So you've got The Sixth Sense, which is a very
wonderful film,
very well reviewed film, and that's like above sort of 80 in the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and then Unbreakable, which is sort of 68, 69, nice sort of score. And then you got Signs, which is around about sort of, I think at the time when this graph was made, 71, 72. And then you got The Village, and that goes down, and that's like 42. And you got The Lady in the Water, which is like 23. And then you got The Happening, which is like 19.
Don't get me started on that film.
And then you got The Last Airbender, which is possibly one of the worst films ever made. And basically sort of made it so there's never going to be another live action Last Airbender film. I mean, they just tend to go down quite poorly. And it's this lovely graph of just going sort of a downward spiral. I mean, he has made some...
You can say he's going uphill now with a Split and Glass.
Yes, and people tend to like those films. I'm not completely sold on them. I'm not. I don't really like them much.
I did enjoy Split. Enjoy Split. Split was good. Glass was a little bit disappointing for me, but I really enjoyed Split. I think that was a fresh breath of fresh air from a director who was going a little downhill.
Yeah, and I think it was heralded sort of as the new Spielberg. So the Metacritic score is 56. That is quite low, middle ground sort of there. The user score is a 7.4 on the film, and someone from the Wall Street Journal said Mr. Shyamalan is a new national treasure, as attuned to our sensibilities and everyday life as Steven Spielberg. So imagine at the time you were being sort of seen as the new Steven Spielberg, which is quite an honor.
So it's a lot of pressure though as well.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's perhaps what got to him a little bit. And the New Yorker said Shyamalan often tries too hard, but nobody else can conjure such a sudden flood of worry or summon so unmistakable sink of evil. And you come out of Signs, as you did from The Sixth Sense, in severe need of loud music, bad jokes, and drinks with cherries and umbrellas with them, which is interesting. The Rotten Tomatoes score is 74 for the critic score, which is pretty good. That's all right. The user score 67. Chicago Reader says individual sequences generate an eerie tension that's always deflated, creating a jarring stop-and-go rhythm with the atmospheric trickery never strays beyond a lot of smoke and mirrors. LA Weekly, enthralled by his own genius and desire to make another blockbuster, Shyamalan has taken a terrific B-movie idea and inflated it into what he wants us to believe is a serious commentary on faith, which is interesting sort of things going on there. And I think brings us on to the sort of the larger discussion of kind of what the film is inherently about. It's kind of about faith. And this is one of my sort of major critiques of the film. I think what I understand what he's kind of on about with sort of the ideas on faith, but I hate it. Do you have any sort of ideas on this before I sort of take it apart?
There are multiple themes within the film. Obviously, faith is the main part because he was a priest or a deacon or something like that, which allowed him to have a wife. But like, spoiler, wife dies, and he loses his faith from that.
Yeah.
Which it can happen. I mean, if I was a priest, would you lose your faith over a death?
I think what I find annoying about it is the sort of, there's lots of use of circles within the film, within the cinematography to kind of show and depict the sort of the circular of life and the sort of how it all goes around and everything's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And like God is like he was the one who kind of made the door to put glasses of water places and all that sort of stuff. And I get where he's trying to come from, and the idea that people go like, oh, this is why it all happened. God is showing him to instill his faith again, and this is kind of like God is making him. And it's sort of, I mean, I have a lot of sort of critiques of religion and sort of that sort of stuff, and I think it the fact that he loses faith over his sort of wife is unfortunate.
Yes, it is a tragedy. Obviously, if that happens to you, yes, it's upsetting. A lot of people go to let's say a lot of people go to faith for comfort as well.
Yeah.
Like that's what I found a bit thing, because as a priest you should know that, or as a thing you should know that, and that's what kind of got me a little. Yes, you get depressed and stuff like that, and yes, you may have like a few days of loss of faith, like why would it happen to me? But I would have thought, because he's a priest, he should kind of know better, and he's dealt with a lot of tragedy because he is a priest. He's dealt with a lot of funerals and stuff like that, and he's been telling people, yes, it's all for a reason, and then he has it and then loses faith. It's just a bit hypocritical sometimes, but but then there is a massive monologue in it about religion as well. And I was watching a YouTube commentary video on it, and basically they said if that got made now, it wouldn't get greenlit. A massive monologue about religion and stuff like that wouldn't really happen really nowadays. And
I know. I don't mind religious overtones, and I think this is a thing with sort of music that people start to talk about, though, because you got those sort of the two ideas within music of like talking about religion. You kind of got the idea that what has religion done to you, and like talking about your experiences with religion in sort of musical sort of sense. And then you've got Christian music, which is kind of like the idea of like everything sort of about Christianity, and Christianity is great, and not like Jesus has taken me out of this hole and I've come out of a depressive state. Like Jesus is great sort of thing. And I think I don't know. I think it, for me, it perhaps teaches the line of like God just solves everything for you, and God is the reason for all of this. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's me sounding a bit sort of atheisty and a bit annoying, but I don't know. I perhaps didn't emphasize with that as a sort of a thing. And I think at the time it was released in 2002, this was a sort of time of sort of an atheist renaissance. Well, not renaissance, sort of or whatever, and sort of Christopher Hitchens and sort of Christopher Dawkins sort of atheism sort of stuff going on in the world. So I perhaps think I don't know. Perhaps we shouldn't talk about it that much, but
no.
yeah. So it's directed by M Night Shyamalan, who is sort of Catholic and that sort of thing, and it's sort of an interesting thing. And also another thing, I keep coming back to the religious sort of idea. I can't, but because it's all about religion, isn't it? It's sort of all about Christianity, and the sort of the use of water as a symbol of purification and holiness, and that like you're purifying the evil from your life, and it's kind of like a metaphor that like the aliens are kind of sort of
his bad thoughts, or like
an idea of sort of bad thoughts, and his family coming together, and him sort of caring for his family in sort of an interesting way is kind of a way of purifying the evil and depression out of his life that his wife had died.
Yeah, but then you have the another theme in it, which is like you touched upon there, family. Which is another big theme in it, especially when contacting the aliens. Part where they were all touching. So first of all, when they first like had the radio and they could hear something, when they touched each other, there was held hands or something like that. It became clearer. And then when they were going off the car, they had a chain, and then they can hear it perfectly. And then a little later through on the film, things go a bit iffy. They start fighting a little bit between them. But then when they go to the dinner scene, where basically all the emotions came out, and they went in for a hug. And then when they all hugged, the signal came clear again.
Yeah, I think I prefer that as sort of a meaning for the film, is that like the wife or the mother has died, and the family kind of fall into disarray because of the death in the family, and they all sort of find peace, and sort of the love starts to come back and that sort of thing. I prefer that meaning, and I don't know, that I feel like that's more relatable in sort of a more general sense than the sort of religious sort of iconography of it. But yeah, it's interesting, and it's also Joaquin Phoenix as well in the film, which is I didn't really know who Joaquin Phoenix was back then, or really until he was in Joker. To be honest with you, perhaps it's my sort of ignorance there, but it's interesting to see him like in earlier films and stuff like that.
Yeah, same with Gladiator as well. He was in that as well.
Was he? Oh.
Yeah, he was the what do you call him? The emperor. Have you seen Gladiator?
I think I have, but a very long time ago.
The guy he fights at the end, like basically like the Caligula figure. He's that, and he was really good in that. But yeah, like you said, I really didn't know Joaquin Phoenix until later, until like 2017.
Yeah.
And 2018, 2019, when he did started off with like an indie film, and then went towards Joker, and that's when he really came to my eyesight. Yeah, like you said, it was interesting to see. Rewatching, it's like, oh, Joaquin Phoenix is in this.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, and Joaquin Phoenix had he was in the more sort of the memorable scene of the film when it was like the sort of the found footage of some sort of feel of like Spanish birthday party or whatever.
Mexican,
yeah, there we go, Mexican, and you see like the sort of alien come out the bush. You're like, it's an alien. That was a good bit of the film.
That's one of my favorite parts. I think it's probably one of my favorite. It is my favorite part of the film. It's like something the news like that's what would happen. That's it. If you are of a nervous sensitization. Look away now. And then it's some frightening images, and then like his reaction, like his facial reaction, you can see, oh no, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, it's sort of the realization of this is sort of a worldwide pandemic, not to,
quick nudge, nudge.
Of it all, and sort of it's happening worldwide.
Yeah,
and I think it perhaps leads to more of the sort of one of the bigger critiques of the film is the sort of the idea that these aliens are, they're attacking worldwide. And this is something we're talking about for like our research and comparing notes. And the sort of the common critique of this film is that these aliens, they come to Earth, a planet full of water. There's water
75% of the Earth is, some 90-something% of the Earth is water. Yeah. And think, am I allergic to water? I don't know. Let's invade it anyway.
Yeah. And it's like it's rain, and that
spit.
Sort of stuff.
Just spit at the alien, you're dead.
All that sort of stuff, and it's mad that they think like, I don't know, they're super sort of intelligent species that's coming to like invade us in spaceships and whatever. It's just like they no idea that water is going to like kill. But I think perhaps if we were to go to a different planet, there might be some sort of substance there that we might be allergic to, or we might be sort of that might kill us. We just we don't have the ability to sort of see that it's there.
A whole planet made of poison ivy.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit stupid, but I kind of like it though.
Yeah, some films do that. Films do that a lot. You can see in War of the Worlds as well, when the aliens got destroyed by a simple bacteria.
Yeah.
And then happening was nature and stuff like that. It was just a bit. What?
It's the classic sort of M Night Shyamalan twist or whatever.
Do you reckon M Night Shyamalan is only famous because of his twists? That's how he's got. That's why everyone's like, M Night Shyamalan, the guy who does all the twists.
Yeah, I mean he's not famous for his quality of movies, but I think
apart from Sixth Sense,
yeah, I love
maybe. Sixth Sense, yeah, but that's what he's known for. He's known for that dude who does all the weird twists.
I suppose that's there. The thing is, M Night Shyamalan, all of his films are set in Philly because he was born in Philly or Philadelphia. I don't want to call it Philly. It's like I'm from America. Philly, in Philadelphia. He lives in Philadelphia. It's all in Philadelphia. It's all very interesting. And he's an NYU graduate, so best film school in the world. Well, not as good as the Northern Film School, but
I was going to say,
how that sort of like sort of thing. And he's sort of been heralded as this sort of new Spielberg, and he kind of makes these sort of terrible films. And I don't know. I'm not crazy on M Night Shyamalan as a director.
No.
And I'm kind of I'm against the sort of the religious iconography in this film, and I kind of like have a lot of critique of this sort of him as a director and the sort of religious iconography in this film. And I just kind of like, I don't know. I've been thinking about this film a lot, and I'm constantly just sort of thinking about the sort of the deeper sort of meanings of films because of these assignments that are like just making me think of the films deeper. I'm just like, I don't know. I really hate it.
That's what film school does to you.
Yeah,
filmmaking school. It makes you think about films more. I can't watch film without saying, that.
Yeah.
This about this. That. My parents get well annoyed at me because I just talk. I go, what are you saying, Luke? It doesn't matter. I'm just muttering to myself because I'm like, that's how that happens. That's happened, and this happens like that. It's like, film school.
Or it ruins films for you.
Yeah.
I mean, going off a bit on tangent. I mean, I hate talking about science. But we are, and I don't know. I'm a bit of a weird mood after this watching this film. I was watching the director's cut of Suicide Squad, and I was noticing sort of like how someone's haircut changed from one scene to a different scene. I was like, his hair was different in that scene, and that's completely different. And it's sort of the noticing all the aspects that I was put into the director's cut, and like that bit wasn't in the original film.
I wonder why.
And I was just like, yeah. But this film, what did I enjoy about it? I'm just having a bit of a midlife crisis in this film at the moment. I like the fact that the sort of the idea that sort of bringing a lot of sort of weird, people who are like in rural bits of America, they tend to like make up stuff about aliens sort of coming to attack them. And there's a scene in the film where they sort of they wear tinfoil hats because someone told them to, or whatever. And I like that they're sort of making these sort of going like, oh, these people who say like they have crop circles in their fields or whatever, like they're real. There are aliens sort of killing people, and I like that sort of playing on that idea. But
yeah, it's like the stereotypical madman with the tinfoil hat on to block radio signals or whatever it was to do.
Yeah, and that sort of weirdo who like tells you to wear a tinfoil hat and stuff like that, which is quite interesting. And the crop circles in the film, that wasn't CGI.
Yeah, I was researching that. Yeah, it proves how you can fake something so easily. Like people are so gullible to think, yes, crop circles. No one could ever do something like that. Well, they did it for a film.
Yeah, I suppose it's not that difficult. I feel you just get like I don't know what they use, a combine harvester. There you go, and do it in a circle.
A combine harvester.
I've got a brand new
combine harvester. Oh my dude, sorry.
Which is just sort of the little amount that I can sort of talk about this. I think I just like to sort of attack M Night Shyamalan a bit. What come on, Luke? What have you got to say about this film? That is positive.
What do I enjoy about the film?
Yeah.
Oh well, I do. Oh, I mean, I can go on about what's bad about it.
Yeah, I know.
And I can tell about how I can change it in my personal preference.
Go on then. Tell us how you would change it.
How I would change it? Well, first of all, I wouldn't show the aliens. Because he said he's got his influence from Hitchcock a lot.
Yeah.
From the birds and stuff like that. I would, because the VFX was the aliens looked no light words, just horrible. They looked really fake, and then you could tell. Yes, aliens don't exist, or do they? We don't know. But you could tell other films do it perfectly. I'll say, oh, that could be realistic. They just looked computer generated. They just looked a bit too clean. They just looked a bit fake, and it ruined it. I really liked. I'll tell you what. One thing I did like is at the end when they were all sitting down. They went into the to get the TV out from the bottom of the stairs, and then you can see the reflection in the TV screen. And that's perfect. And when Joaquin comes in and drops his the thing and just stares at it, and then you see the daughter staring at it, that's creepy. That's what I like about it. That was perfect. They should have done all encounters like that, keeping them in the shadows or just out of vision or just a reflection or something like that would have made it 10 times better. And then they cut to this weird ass looking alien just clicking and just doing all these weird movements, stuff like that. I thought the only part I liked about the full alien was, like we said earlier, the TV found footage thing, because that was literally literally a couple of frames of an alien, and then that's like what we see of the alien. That's it. And then rest of it is in the shadows, it's in the glimpse, it's the corner of your eyes, it's a reflection, it's something like that. And that would have made the ending a lot more. I don't know how to phrase it. A lot more
sort of poignant and better.
Better. It just shows that you don't need to spend tons on visuals to visual effects to make something scary or something like that. The thing that's scary of it is that you can't see it. Bit like like the aliens from what's it called? The Don't Breathe. The Quiet Place. That's it.
Oh, yeah,
You don't see it till right at the end, or you just don't see it. That's what's scary. You can't see what's there, and it just it just makes it a lot more scary, in my opinion. And that's what I like about that, I think.
Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown.
That's
that
it.
I think is what some parts of the film, and I think what I've got written down in my notes is sort of there's a bit in the film where the sound design is really good, and it's kind of like the crickets sort of like keep making their noise, and they just stop for some reason. And in that moment, you kind of realize there's something out there, and it's just sort of eerie tension of like, oh, there's something out there, and it's made the cricket stop. And the sort of that not showing you the alien, but sort of implying that the alien is there and that you can't see the alien is what would have sort of made the film a lot better. And the sort of, the idea that there's something out there, but you can't see it, and you will never see it, but it will get you. And I think that sort of leads into the sort of the idea of, the threat that is kind of like, I can't really find the words for it. The invisible threat.
Yeah, it's that sense of Lovecraftian horror, that the fear of the unknown, something that that you can't explain, really. The Lovecraftian horror aspect of it. It's not.
And I think
it's not cosmic, but it's the main thing, because he's more cosmic horror. But Lovecraftian is also the fear of the unknown. You don't know it, and they should have implied some of that Lovecraftian aspect into the film a lot more, I think.
Yeah. And I completely agree. It's just, and I think if they just left it to the sort of the mind's eye, it would really sort of giving it the idea of like comparison of like the main guy's sort of depression with his wife dying, and sort of the fact that depression is sort of a hidden enemy.
It's invisible.
That is invisible, and it's sort of, if they had just given that and sort of really made the distinction clear that this is sort of enemy that you can't really see, and this dark sort of splodge in people's lives, that could have really, really worked and made sort of a really sort of very good and very powerful metaphor for the whole film.
That's how. Yeah, we just made the film 10 times better. Studios, come our way. We can make signs too.
Yeah. We'll make it for you. And I think the difficulty with making films, I understand sort of, trying to find that sort of nuance, because you like, if it's too nuanced and the audience don't get it, but if you don't have enough nuance, then it's just kind of like you're insulting your audience.
Yeah,
and I think that's trying to toe that line is the most difficult thing in filmmaking, in my opinion. Is trying to find like, is this too much nuance or is this too little? Am I treating my audience as if they're idiots, or do they have to read up about 50 different sort of references in order to get the film? And I think both are just quite bad, but just trying to toe that line is quite difficult. But you should always try to find that sort of line of the perfect amount of nuance.
Yeah.
And it's quite difficult. And I think when I've sort of started, I'm not very good at writing, but I have written films, and I'm quite bad at it. But in trying to sort of write films, sort of, it is quite difficult, and I understand that, but it is still a bad film.
Yeah.
And this is probably the first film we've done which we've both sort of equally gone, this is not the best film.
It's worse. It's more bad than it is good.
Mm.
It's like a 40-60 split.
Yeah, and I think I don't know whether I mentioned this, but this is kind of like the turning point in M Night Shyamalan's career, where it all starts to go downhill. Which is like,
it's gone downhill. But now, since have you seen The Visit as well? Because that's when it first started. He's first started getting a little upwards trajectory with The Visit, Split, and then Glass. But from Signs, it all goes downhill, and it's like, we get the Village, which is just no.
Yeah, it makes a lot of thrillers and he makes a lot of horrors and that sort of stuff. And I suppose it's a difficult sort of genre to make sort of films that are critically sort of, you know,
Yeah, he
good.
goes from thrillers and horrors to anime. It's like no, doing what do you call it? Last Airbender. It's like yeah, that's not your line of work. There, it's like what?
Yeah.
It's like David Fincher making a comedy. It's just
Yeah.
no, don't.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one day we'll do The Last Airbender, but it's kind of like
Stay away from watching that film as long as I can.
Oh my god, it's awful. It's so bad. I mean, it's just kind of like because the animated series was so fantastic and it's so sort of wonderfully written and well made, and to go from that to sort of the
so a
movie,
whitewash cast. It's a whitewash cast. They don't go for Mandarin or just Chinese actors full stop. They just whitewash the whole cast, which I found a bit insulting.
Yeah. And do you know what? I watched The Last Airbender in the cinema, and that's what I feel betrayed about.
You had to pay for it.
The fact that I paid for it. I mean, I think I watched it for my birthday as well because I really loved The Last Airbender. And I was just like, I think I might watch it for my birthday. I was like, oh, this is an all right film, maybe. And I'm like, and it tried to pack so. This podcast is no longer about science. It's about M Night Shyamalan and his sort of his hate of cinema and his hate of the moving image format and just
he ruined my childhood.
He ruined my childhood. He ruined The Last Airbender. He's ruined my life. I can't. You know, I love going to the cinema. It's great. I've seen films in the cinema. I've seen them multiple times because they're great films. And he's just kind of he's ruined everything.
Talk about films like that. Have you ever walked out on a film before?
I have at Secret Cinema, which is like a club we do. I think if I pay for a film, I'll stay for the duration of it. But I haven't. No.
What film did you walk out on then?
I can't remember. Well, it's Secret Cinema. It's this German film. I'll try and find it now. But it was just it was so boring to me. I think it's actually a very Wings of Desire. That's it. Which is a sort of
sounds like a war film.
No, well, it's about sort of this guy who's an angel and he's kind of like wandering around. And I apparently it's a very well reviewed film. And it's an incredibly fantastic film, but I just found it so boring at that time. I was just watching. I was like, what am I watching here? And I quite like sort of boring sort of, you know, German films or whatever, and that's kind of what I like to watch. Maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll get it, but I don't know. What about you? Have you ever walked out of a film?
I nearly did. Nearly did. It was the new Fantastic Four film.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm a massive comic book geek, and I was just like, oh, this is awful. I couldn't walk out because I was on holiday with my family in America. So if I walked out, I'll be like, oh, where do I go now?
You watched a film on a holiday?
Yeah, well, like I said, my family loves films, and it's a sense that we always woke up at like 6 and stuff like that because of the time difference in America. So we go to the early showing at 8:30. The film finishes by 10. It's when most people wake up to go and do activities. So by then we've gone to the cinema, had a nice drink, have drinks, have popcorn food, stuff like that, and then come out and it's like the start of the day. But yeah, it was an experience like I said. I've never been to an American cinema, and it was all right. Even bigger screen than England. But there's a sense that because our whole family loves films, and we just like we'll go to the cinema. It's 8:30 to 9. Well, we're next to the beach, near the beach. So we'll go there. We'll go to the beach after. So
interesting life.
Yeah.
Much more interesting than the film Signs. But,
the annoying thing about film Signs is that they had quite a good cinematographer with them as well.
Yeah.
The guy did cine for Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, I don't know. If it was done properly and it had so much going for it, and it had so much to just kind of be that sort of wonderfully sort of poignant film. And it just I'm using the word poignant a lot, but I don't know.
They could have made a lovely film about depression and how
Sort of
to and
religious sort of ideals and
how
that
you
sort
could
of
lose
stuff.
faith and stuff like that. You can make a beautiful film through that. You could have even made the guy not a priest, just a guy who is, because around the area it's stereotypical, but most farmers in America, they always seem those really religious nuts.
Yeah.
You could have had the fact that yes, he isn't a priest; he's just a random farmer. You could say a very religious farmer, and his wife dies, and then he loses his faith from that, and his family starts breaking up, stuff like that. And then these aliens come, and he's like a metaphor for his depression coming on. And then he could have the fact that faith can cure depression, or not cure depression, but it can relieve
help
a bit
you
of
along the way and
help you. It's like the sense of a guiding hand. It could have been a beautiful film. It could have been shot beautifully. It was shot beautifully. There were some lovely shots, and it could have been. It's that film that it's a film that could have been something.
Yeah,
Could
it's
have.
a film that could
It's
have
a,
been.
it's a yeah. It's could have been. It's a could have been film, and that's what's annoying about it. If someone, would you want to see a rehash of it by a different director? And a script rewrite and different cinematographer, which I can make it more horror aspect or more poignant aspect of it, or just would you want to see a rehash of it?
I don't know. I think it's something that could be kind of done with this sort of coronavirus sort of rules, because you could just have like a family who are all sort of isolated together, because it's not a very big cast, is it?
No, it's
And
literally
it's
focusing on like a family and then some odd jobs. But you
yeah,
can just get rid of them odd jobs because them odd jobs were just a bit cringy.
mm,
But it's literally a family, and yes, you have like the news stuff like that. But you can easily ask someone to do it at home and then
yeah.
behind a green screen, and then there you go, easy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't want to see a redo of this. Perhaps something within a similar sort of vein of this, exploring similar ideas that we've discussed. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think what would you give it out of 10?
Oh, 4, 5.
Yeah,
It's definitely not. We did slate a little bit on Hereditary, but Hereditary is so much better than um, Signs. Yeah, 4 or 5. I was disappointed in the how they went on with the script, the fact that they showed the aliens, which I really didn't want them to do. When I watched it a couple of times, I just the fact the aliens looked horrible. And the
yeah,
fact that I had in my mind, oh, do not show them, do not show them, do not show them, showed them, and then yeah, it was
yeah.
just a little bit disappointing in my opinion.
Mm,
You see loads of people enjoying it, like the guy who I did a watch along with. It's one of his favorite films. Good for you.
mm,
But then he said it was one of his favorite films, but he said they shouldn't have showed the alien, which a lot of people are annoyed about,
mm,
and that's what it drags it way down for that. And
yeah,
the acting is great. The kids did
mm,
an amazing job for acting.
yeah,
Some of the themes in it was good. The family
mm,
theme much better than the religious theme, because the religious theme was just a bit too overpowering in my opinion.
mm.
Um, but yeah, that's why it's down there for 4.5. I think
Yeah.
it's
I
just
think I hate giving sort of M Night Shyamalan sort of such a bad sort of review or whatever what we've ever talked about. But like it's just it's kind of like the cool thing to sort of hate on M Night Shyamalan if you like into films or whatever. And
yeah,
I hate to sort of go along sort of those tropes, but it's just I don't know. I would give it like a 3.5 or a
yeah,
4.
yeah,
I can't. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of sort of deep sort of religious iconography in films. I'm not really a big fan of sort of sort of the little amount of nuance coming towards the end.
yeah,
And I think the main bit of it is sort of religious sort of aspects of it are just kind of a bit like so sort of blatant, in my opinion. And they're sort of like, oh, religion fixes all your problems.
It doesn't, though.
And I don't know. Maybe that's just me sort of being sort of not very religious and kind of raised in sort of a very sort of agnostic atheist household. I don't know. Maybe if sort of you've had a sort of a born again sort of Christian sort of life, this might be a very good film for you. It might be very interesting. Might sort of very much relate to you. But I just feel like it didn't relate to me.
I feel like it's more popular in America because the guy I did watch along was American. I feel like it's more popular in America than it is in England because of the fact that religion is much more of a bigger thing in America than it is in England, in my opinion. Yes, you have some religious people in England, and it is quite a big thing. But America takes it one step further and just act like nutters with religion.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, and they're like, yes, you are. I am right. My beliefs are right. Yours are wrong. Do not do that. You will go to hell if you don't like that. It's just like, come on. It's just. I was talking about stupid religious people. I watched that Louis Theroux documentary on the most hated family in America.
Yeah,
you seen that? Yeah. I think weren't they born again Christians or some aspect of some just nutty Christian cult type thing, and and that's why what. Americans are psychos, and
we don't actually think all Americans are psychos.
No,
it's just kind of like what we think the sort of the film is sort of portraying a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I've got lots of friends from America. Don't worry.
Oh God, that's great. That is.
I know. No, but yeah.
Okay, so I think it's all we've got to say about the film, really.
Yeah,
we didn't like it. Sort of weird religious iconography, but I think that's about it. We'll review a different film next week that we might like, but I think it's probably this is the first film that we've just ripped apart.
Yeah,
we've really hated.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, just not good. Not good. There's no words to put it. Yeah,
I think it's about it from us today. I think
a shorter one. Shorter podcast.
Well, it's not. It's really not.
Isn't it?
No, this is one of our longer ones. I think because we just talked about how much we hated the film. We so passionately said about how much we hated it.
Yeah. See the time. Oh God.
Yeah, we just had so much fun just ripping apart this film. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's about it then. Hopefully you've enjoyed the podcast. Hopefully you've enjoyed just ripping apart the signs. We'll see you guys next week. I've been Oliver.
I've been Luke.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.